Today was one of my biggest trading days in the last 6 months. I took a monster 12 to 1 trade, meaning I risked 1% to gain 12%. And I want to go through the trade with all of you. It was on a holiday day, which was one of the biggest negatives to the setup, but the PA was clean. It made sense. Clean price action, which I was surprised, hence me taking this trade. So let's dive into it. Let's start from the higher time frames and kind of dig into the lower time frames and see what made this a viable trade and how my kind of thought process went through it. So let's dive into the charts here and let's get to it. All right, so let's dive right into it. Let's start from the higher time frame and then move into our execution in 1 minute, because I want all of you to kind of understand the picture, the layout, the lay of the lands before we kind of go into the actual trade. As again, that's important. You have to understand everything to take the trade. But all in all, from the 1 hour top left here, guys, price opened up after a large 200-point gap to the downside. Okay. And then ever since then, it never even went into the new week opening gap, which is basically this white space here. And it continued dropping through Asia, through London, through pre-930, all the way to the open. So what I want you to get out of this is there's a lot of space to the upside that hasn't been traded to. There's a void there. And price has been bearish ever since price opened up on Sunday night. So what it did on the 1 hour, there was a bearish fair value gap that formed here. Price came into it. Look how nicely the 1 hour candles are closing to the mean threshold of it. And then eventually drops further, taking out liquidity before they move higher. So that's the 1 hour. What I want you to get out of the 15-minute is just session highs and lows. So all of these colorful lines, that indicates a session high or low. So we got the purple, which is the Asia highs and lows. So Asia highs, relative equal highs, not touched. We've got London highs here. They've just been tagged right now. I didn't catch this move, but they've been just tagged right now. But again, it's an area of liquidity of a draw. And then right before the open, look, we have relative equal highs on the 930. So again, a draw. So if price at 930, it just starts driving lower with all of these relative equal highs and this entire bearish move over the last 12 hours, what do you think might happen at 930? I'm anticipating a Judah swing to the downside, grabbing liquidity, and then it start going up. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. So looking at the 1 minute here, bottom left chart, price at the open, it drove lower, grabbed liquidity once, twice, all of this 3 times, and then eventually grabbed London lows. And what it did once it grabbed London lows, it did a 3-drive pattern. So it drove once down, came up, respected bearish PD arrays, drove lower once again. And again, I wasn't convinced that this was the move. And the 3rd drive lower, it drove lower. It created the only fair value gap in this entire section, which is right here. It's on the 942 candle. And it is a fair value gap because even though that there is no gap, there is a gap here between the candle at 942 and 943. It's just a type of fair value gap. And that was my line in the sand that if we're going to start closing above it, from a 15-second perspective, I will take the long. And that's what happened. Took it long with my stop loss right below the mean threshold of the last bullish order block, which is this one right here. And then it started pushing higher. And then once I'm in the trade, this is kind of what I thought. I'm going to have a couple of areas of resistance coming ahead of me. So the first one's going to be the first presentation, fair value gap, being at what time? At 932. And price is going to do one of 2 things. It's going to slice through, or it's going to use it as support and then drive lower. So I broke to break even right when it hit this level. And you can see here it sliced through and it used it as support to push higher. Level 2, the second level that I was looking for when it comes to resistance is the opening price, right? Where we opened up at. And again, it sliced right through and it continued pushing higher without really any downturns up until this level right here. This is where I pushed my stop loss to below mean threshold of the bearish of the BPR, the balanced price range. And here you can see here, it tagged me out for 12 to 1. It almost hit my full profit target, but unfortunately it rolled back a couple of R's and it took me out. What price continued to do after? And again, it's if you are more of a long-term trader, and maybe if today wasn't a holiday, I would have held it for longer. But since trading was closing in the next 3 hours, I just tried to squeeze as much as I can from this initial move. It pushed lower, it pushed to the opening price, and then it just continued pushing higher. And right now, closing or trading should close in the next 25 minutes, but it just tagged London highs. So, you know, if I held to London highs today, it would have been what, a 25 to 1 trade. And again, these trades rarely happen for me. Usually it's like a 3 to 1, a 2 to 1, not a 12 or 25 to 1. But I'm happy with following my rules, grabbing low hanging fruit, properly managing my stop loss. This drive happened within the macro. We had another drive within the next macro from 1050 to 1110. And then it just started crawling up higher and it just tapped out right now at highs. So going into tomorrow's trading, what are some levels for me that I'm looking at is this new week opening gap that wasn't traded to. That's going to be my draw of liquidity. All this untested area. So I really hope we don't push any higher from now till tomorrow. And then tomorrow at 9:30, it's going to be that next drive higher to the new week opening gap. Start to fill in some of that gap that happened over the weekend. So ultimately, that was my trade. Just under $12,000. Here's a screenshot of it from Top Step. And all in all, guys, you know, it's been so far a pretty good January. I'm hoping to end it strong. I will post a video of my results and just being transparent with how my account looks like over the last 30 days. And yeah, the goal is to continue just with the 5 accounts for 2 more payouts. And then I'm going to scale to 10 with another firm, depending on what probably has cheapest and best deals from a passing perspective. If you guys enjoyed this review, feel free to drop a like and a comment. I'd appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys in the next trading review. Take care, guys, and happy trading.